Hi everybody, Lacy Shane here for Real Women, Real Success. This week we're going to talk about how to be confident without being certain. And I'm going to give you some context about why this is important before I tell you what it is that I am talking about. Okay, so you've heard me say before that while women are 50% of the population and 67% of college graduates, that we're only 5% of Fortune 500 company leadership. We're only 14% of government leadership. We get less than 3% of venture capital investment. And so it's not that we're not smart enough, the reasons why we're not there, and there are many reasons, things that we can tackle and we can deal with and address that would help us ascend into those higher levels of leadership, and our skills are needed. When you look at the problems in government and in corporations today, the ethics problems in our corporations, the stagnation and complete polarization in our governments, think about the skill sets, think about the character traits that are needed to address those issues. They're all innate female characteristics. So why are we not there? Again, it's not that we're not smart enough, but here's one thing that I observed that may be insightful to you, and that is that men have the ability to be confident without being certain. And let me give you an example of how that plays out. I know a business owner that had marketed his business and marketed it, and his philosophy was it didn't matter how much business came to them, they were going to say yes to it all and figure out how to get it done later. He had that level of confidence in his ability to figure out certainty along the way. Conversely, female friend of mine, business owner, when faced with the idea of explosive growth, decided to push that aside because she wasn't sure how she'd handle it. She wasn't certain about how she'd handle it. You see this sort of attitude as well with men and women applying for certain jobs. Maybe they're elevating to the next level and the woman thinks she needs another degree or another 5 classes, and the man's like, I can do it. I'm confident in myself and I'll be certain about how I'm going to get the job done later. And, you know, we have the ability to figure out certainty along the way. We are, as women, figure out how to grow more hours in a day. We are the consummate multitaskers, right? You want something done, you hear people say, okay, you want something done, give it to a woman. We have the innate ability to figure things out. We juggle our kids, we juggle our lives, we juggle our spouses, or if we're dating, and our jobs and our families and everything else, we have the ability to figure things out. And it's my hope that women become more comfortable being confident in their abilities to figure things out, to figure out certainty along the way. One of the things that I think holds us back sometimes is we maybe think that leadership means having to have all the answers. Now, I don't know if that's what you think. It certainly isn't what I consciously think. But I do think in my past there's been times where I've stumbled on the idea that I needed another degree or another class, and I'm not saying that you can get away without being competent. You have to be competent. You have to have a base knowledge in the field that you're in. But really solid leaders don't know everything. Really solid leaders know how to find those who do, know how to tap resources, know how to go out and cultivate what they need from other resources. When you think of leadership, isn't it really oftentimes just facilitating the best outcome? You hear it said all the time. Top leaders will say, oh, I'm not so smart. I just surround myself with people smarter than me. That certainly has been my philosophy of late in my career over the last, couple of decades or so, that I have found much more value in surrounding myself with people, experts, subject matter experts, people who care about a certain issue, people who have a certain talent to help me figure out the certainty of how I'll deal with things along the way. Most leaders you will find could be leaders in several environments. If they're successful in one and they're actually authentic, good top leaders, then they probably would be a good leader in other venues as well. So if you can figure out how to be confident without being certain, and go and get the extra education you need if you really need it. Obviously, it's needed for things like being a surgeon and being an attorney and a doctor. But to ascend to higher levels of leadership, most oftentimes I'll bet that the woman involved can figure it out and can be confident in her ability to find certainty along the way. That confidence is what gets our foot in the door to get those advancements, to get those opportunities. People want to go with strength, and when you're confident and they sense strength, they'll believe in you. And I've certainly experienced that, and there's great value in the saying, fake it till you make it, because you have to try on the new suit in order to live in it. So I hope that's helpful to you. It's really important for us as women to be confident without having to be certain, because the world is waiting for our skill sets. We're needed at higher levels of leadership, and that's what I want for you, and that's what I want for all women. So I hope that was helpful to you. I want you to go out there and have a great week. Know that I'm your biggest fan, and I'll see you next week.